What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we are jumping back up on the 54 F100. You guys haven't seen this thing in probably about a year and a half due to all the other projects we've been jumping on. But we finally got this thing back in the shop, and we're gonna start knocking this thing out and hopefully get it fully done by spring. So, we've got the cab back in. We started working on getting the vintage air in, a few other little things that the customer wanted to change up. But our biggest change, as you can see, we have made a line back here. They decided they wanted to get rid of the small window and go to a wraparound back window. So they purchased up a kit here, and they brought us the whole frame, the glass, all the insulation, molding, everything to put that curved back window in there. I'm not sure exactly why. I personally like the smaller window, but we're gonna give the customer what they want as far as that goes. I don't know if the wraparound window is more rare than the other one. Not sure. Couldn't answer that for you. But what we're gonna start out with is we've taken all our measurements. We're gonna cut down here along this line. We are going to cut directly up this guy, and then I'm gonna cut right at the bottom line here, not into the roof, so by the bottom line there. We're gonna get this whole roof piece, or say roof, this backside out of here. And then from there, we're gonna start fitting up the new piece. We did measure out about a 1/4 inch short on the bottom side as far as that goes, to give ourselves a little bit of overhang and a little bit of leeway for metal work. We'll probably end up trimming up more of that when we get time. But after we get this all cut out, we'll drill out our spot welds, and then we'll get the rest of the spot weld and metal off there in the end. But the easiest way to get it done is to get this big panel off first, and then you're going to be able to get into all your spot welds up here and around the sides much easier. So Lil Kev's got the cutoff wheel. He's gonna do the honors of chopping this bad boy up. Yeah. Yep. So Little Kev got the whole back cut off of there. We don't have to worry about bracing up the roof. Typically, we'd probably throw a couple braces from side to side and stuff like that, but there is no actual extra weight being held on there. The door jambs are still in there. Those are not being removed, so everything should still be pretty solid and steady. We're not gonna have it tore apart for more than just about an hour to get the new one put in, so it's not gonna sit overnight and start to sag or anything like that. So the next steps we're gonna do is, like I said, we're gonna go use the belt sander and take out all these spot welds here and get all our surfaces prepped and ready to get the new panel welded back in. Guys, so it's been a few days. Lil Kev has been knocking this cab out. So we got all the new window frame put in. We worked on a bunch of other little things inside the cab. He's got the trans mount all said and done. We had to put a bunch of nut zerts in there because the original bolts were just ripping out. And then the hardest task that we had to kind of figure out was the AC box. As you can kind of see up under there, they had welded some studs in there originally to hold that AC box in. But it just didn't seem to line up, and it didn't make a lot of sense where they had it, because this AC box actually has like 2 floor vent defrosters, as you can see right there, that should kind of equally blow down on the people's feet. So it took us a little while trying to figure out where the AC was going to go. Got it kind of figured out, a few things clearance and cut out of the way, and then Lil Kev got that all stabbed up in there, ready to go. He got all the Firewall holes filled in and ready to go as well. Looking good. And we've got the nut zerts down there. So we had just a few more things to click off the box before we sent this cab back over for paint. One of them being is we needed to put on the doors, align them, and kind of get all that figured out before we send it over paint. Something you should always do, worrying about your body lines, door gaps, edges, and things like that. And sure enough, I am so glad that we ended up doing that before we sent it back over. On a side story, there was a gentleman that worked on this truck 14 years ago in a different town where this truck originally came from. He actually knew about this truck. And he told me a couple stories about it, which I was kind of like, I was believing him for sure, but didn't believe how rough it really was. He said, well, when it came into his shop 14 years ago, both front cab corners were all crushed in, and he's like, I don't want no part of that thing. So it's kind of funny that he said that, because when we put on the driver's side door, the door gap was really, really inset right here. So we did a little bit of massaging on the door to get the gap better. Once we started massaging on the door, and we weren't doing very much like heavy work or anything to it, mind you, but let me show you what had happened. As soon as we started kind of getting that door gap to fit better right here, the cab corner right here just split in half. So after I seen that, I was like, we need to do a little bit of investigating. So I followed through with what that gentleman had said, and sure enough, he was completely right. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it in here, but all right down here, that is actually a crease inside the cab corner, and the other side is exactly the same way. So that is your old typical cave and pave type of situation. Truck had gotten hit. They decided to just mud over it instead of hammering out the dent and massaging it, which you have full access to inside there. So I don't know why they didn't metalwork it first. As I've been teaching little Kev about metalwork in here, and I'll tell you guys as well, your metalwork is like your foundation to a house. The better metal fitment and metal work that you do, it follows in line. So the better work you do, the better the mud work is going to be. The better the mud work is going to be, the better the primer job and everything on, and it falls on so forth. All the way to the paint job at the very end and fitment. So if you don't get your metal work right from that point on, it's just going to waterfall into there. So we just were curious to see how much mud was in there, so I took the hammer and just tapped on that crease a little bit. And as you guys can see, we've got some thickness. So I'm glad that showed its face when it did, because I don't want to finish this job and then have it be driven about a year later and the customer come back with that tear in the corner or the mud fall out or anything like that. So if you guys ever take a project on that was already partially finished or anything like that, the best advice is to take it back down to bare metal, start over, and do it the right way the first time. Do it to best of your ability at least. There is no perfect right way when you do this stuff, but just do it the best you can. Don't half-ass stuff. This ain't worth it. So I called up the customer. We're like, hey, we needed to get new corners. We need structural stability out of this. We need it to have strength for holding the doors and all that stuff. So we found some panels online. They're not too expensive to get and whatnot. So I have access to their parts trailer out at their house, and we went to go out and pick up more parts. We were going to start working on the front end while we were waiting on the cab corners. So we went and picked up all the front end stuff. But it was a huge score to us. They actually had the cab corners in the trailer. Right there and there, left and right side. Which leads me to believe, what was it? What the heck? You had the cab corners. They were right there. What? Why'd you mud it? Why didn't you fix it right? So anyway, I am super stoked. We don't have to wait 2-3 weeks for shipping and metal to come in and get these fixed the right way. We have them on hand. So we're going to go ahead and start cutting this out. Little Kev's going to get these new corners put in, and we're going to make this thing look fresh. And while he's tinkering with that, we're going to start getting the front clip all fitted. They have a new grill that we're going to be putting into it, so we need to make sure that fits before it goes off to chrome. So those are our big goals for the next few weeks here. So we're going to get slicing and dicing and putting some new corners on. So little Kevin is trucking along. You like how I did that there? Trucking?
Please.
Stupid joke. Anywho, It has been a little while since we've been working on this thing. I've had some teeth pulled. I'm going to be slurring up a storm on this video here, so if you guys are annoyed by that, I don't care. Anywho, Lil Kev has got the new side cab quarters on. Everything is good to go on both sides. They were both really beat up. Do we have any of those panels left to show them what was really up in there?
No, they're in the trash.
We threw them in the trash. There was, I mean, this much mud in the side. They did just a bunch of terrible work. So we got all that out of there, and it is good to go. We got a new grinder because our grinder took a crap, and he's been under here cleaning all the floor up, getting ready to coat that. But in that turn of cleaning stuff up, you know, you always run into more stuff. He started cleaning it up, and we found ourselves some Swiss cheese. That is where the dimmer switch goes for your highs and lows. It has a little panel that goes right there. But I think we are going to go ahead and just delete that hole. We were talking about putting our light switch and dimmer and everything up on the column, so we won't need that pedal anymore, which is something we needed to decide about anyway, because when it goes off to interior work and get the carpet put in, we needed to know if we were going to have a hole there or not. So I think we're going to make the executive decision and delete that bubble. So what we're going to do is we're going to just cut this out and flat panel that bad boy back in there and be good to go. Get rid of all that. We don't want to have a spot where it can collect water in the future and rust again. So that is another reason. Just delete it and call it good. So yeah, he has been moving along on this bad boy. We've got a bunch of other little projects done. I'll show you. They got, I believe it is a 56 grill. I could be wrong on that. And it needed some work. A couple of the things, the weld had broke over here, had some dents over there, and all that stuff. And I am getting ready to take this thing over to Oshkosh, Nebraska, where they have a chroming shop and stuff like that. So that is what we're getting ready for that for. So I can drive that down there and get this delivered. That is one of the big projects, because the chroming process takes a while. So we want to make sure that that is down there in time so they can have their time to work on it. And next up on the block is we're going to be working on getting the doors all fixed up for the new windows that we got. So we are going to be deleting the wing windows, and we've got a full set of regular full-size glass and electric motors and everything for the doors. So once we jump into that little project, I'll try to catch some more of that, because that is something new on the channel that we have never done, and showing you guys. So we'll dump a little bit more into depth on the all that good stuff for the doors. So as soon as we're finished up with the cab here, that is what we'll be doing next.